So you join us again on day one of Smart Manufacturing Week here at the Manufacturer Media Studio, and we have another interviewee along. We have Gary Wilson from Amtico. And Gary, we've just done a panel session together, which, if I don't mind saying, I think went pretty well, right?
Yeah, I was very, very pleased with it. I think the attendance actually was great. You know, I think it was full, pretty much, wasn't it? And it went very well. Some really very good discussion.
But could you just, for anyone that wasn't there and is watching this after the event, could you just give us a little bit of a sort of flavour of it?
Of course, yeah. I mean, obviously we started off very much kind of looking at what the status quo is in terms of where we are in terms of innovation. It was really more about kind of the design-led innovation side of things, how sustainability fits into that, and also how digitization fits into that. So we talked a lot about AI, robotics, automation. So that was the kind of general gist of things.
Yeah. Within the kind of list of challenges that just kind of keep on seeming to crop up for the industry, how hard is it to prioritise innovation?
I mean, it's quite difficult to prioritise innovation. I mean, really it has to be very much customer driven. We have to look at the return on investment, the risk associated with that, and you know it's got to add margin. You know, so it's quite difficult to prioritise, but it is about keeping that momentum going on the various projects.
Yeah, and obviously technology is going to be a hot talking point this week, and it was mentioned a lot during the panel discussion that we've just been on. But where are you really seeing it making an impact within product innovation?
I think in terms of digitization, so where kind of AI is coming into it, and we're probably not seeing in our industry a lot on kind of digital twins or Internet of Things as such, but I think very much the AI aspect. Smart factories, I mean, as a business, we've recently, 2 or 3 years ago, we introduced a smart factory, we introduced Red Zone, and that's been pretty much a game changer for us. So I think the whole digitization, automation, robotics, but also the incorporation of AI, but actually making sure that actually it's kind of with people in mind.
Innovating quickly as well. You know, how much of a challenge is that?
Yeah.
Again, kind of weighed up against all of the challenges.
Yeah. Innovating quickly is probably what we have to do these days, because by the time, you know, if you take too long in innovating, somebody's beating you to it. You know, so you have to do things quickly. We have a stage gate process, so we collaborate with all of the stakeholders. So whether it's engineering, design, technical, sales, so everybody's got a kind of an input into it, and that tends to speed up things in terms of what we actually want from as the final product dropping out of that project. So you know, we have smarter processes for innovation, but we don't cut corners, if you see what I mean.
Sure,
so.
of course. And we were talking as well about how innovation has typically been engineering-led within manufacturing.
Yep.
Slightly different at Amtico. There's kind of more of a design-led
very much so.
I
mean, we are an engineering company, we're a manufacturing company, but a lot of our innovation comes from the fact that our customers are looking for a design-led product. You know, they're looking for the aesthetics of the product. So, you know, behind it is the manufacturing in terms of efficiencies and the innovation that goes into the manufacturing side of things, but it's also the product as well. So I think where it was engineering-led, it's very much now more design-led and human kind of design-led as well.
Yeah, and just remind us again some of the markets that Amtico are in, some of the kind of places that you're delivering these products to.
So I mean, we have residential and commercial business, but I mean, Amtico is very well known. In terms of from a flooring aspect, you've probably walked on the product, but you know, we've sold it into film sets. So James Bond, the recent Gladiator film, that the whole kind of throne scene was very much an Amtico flooring set, which took a long time to install in Malta. You know, in strange conditions with an open air. You know, which is not. You wouldn't normally install our product in an open air, but we did, and it went very well. You know, so. You know, we have commercial customers, we have residential customers, and the requirements are very different.
Sure. I mean, you're talking kind of crazy end of the scale, I would imagine, with with film sets and that kind of thing, where you're really kind of pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely. I mean, we do offer kind of what I would call standard products from the point of view of standard sizes, you know, standard wood, marble lookalikes, but we do a lot of bespoke designs, and obviously for film sets, it's very much bespoke. But we'll do logos for people, so where they can send us a design and we can cut that out of our tiles, so it's very much, as I say, it's very much design-led.
Supply chains as well, which we didn't touch on too much in the actual panel, but obviously this is a real problem and has been a problem for ages. And actually, it seems to be, when things were kind of easing slightly, it seems to have become harder for now for a lot of businesses, certainly in the last kind of 18 months or so. Is this also a bit of a blocker to innovation in terms of sourcing and kind of getting,
Actually, I'll be honest, I wouldn't say it's a blocker. I would say it's a disruptor, but actually probably sharpens us up in terms of innovation. So our whole supply chain is, I think is, although it's generally cost driven, it's now more for resilience. It's the flexibility of that supply chain. So kind of having supply chain that is more local, UK, Europe, but we still have to deal with supply chains from the Far East. So it's and it's flexing the product mix to accommodate what is kind of available and what isn't available. So I wouldn't say it's kind of stifles it. I'd say it actually sharpens us up in terms of what we do.
Sure. And could you attribute that to sustainability as well, in terms of having to obviously comply with sustainable governance, and obviously you've still got a customer base that are keen on sustainable products. So does that kind of get woven into the innovation side of things?
Absolutely,
as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we have sustainability pillars. Innovation is kind of one of those pillars. Supply chain is another part of it. Innovation and well-being, and so sustainability is actually it's all woven into the whole design aspect. So, as I said earlier, we have a stage gate process, and within that stage gate process, there is a sustainability kind of field, if you like, that we look into. So it's kind of built into that, and obviously the products that we're making now, we are building in the sustainability aspect, whether that is from raw materials that we're using. So we launched a few years ago a product called Amtico Bio, which is kind of it's a PVC base that we produce, but it's not, the Amtico Bio isn't from fossil fuels, it's from sustainable forests, so there is a much lower global warming potential of that product, and recycling, repairability, that's also built into it. So we've got to think about the end of life of the product. So what we're trying to do with the innovation when it comes to product especially is try and build in things that are more easily recycled.
We were talking about the sort of biggest barriers in from your perspective and from the other panelists' perspective, and skills did seem to be a real concern, and that is kind of reflected across the industry as a whole, really, isn't it? And there was some concern from your side.
There was absolutely. And as you say, I think talking with other people, I would say that other aspects are they're kind of disruptors, but you can engineer around those. Skill set you can't. And actually, recently we've been trying to recruit people for the R&D team. It's actually been very difficult to get the right skill set, So, I think gone are the days where, you could go to university, you could come out and you'd expect a job. Now we're looking for people with different skills. So people who've had industrial experience in their university degree is very useful. People have had sandwich degrees or taken their third year out. You can tell the difference with somebody who's had a year in industry to somebody who hasn't. So my take on that is if you're doing that sort of if you want to go into manufacturing, you want to go into science, you get that year out, then really to me that's very, very valuable.
Yeah. And then final question, sort of 5 years down the line, where do you see in terms of manufacturers that are in a strong position, what do you think they need to be prioritising in terms of linking it back to innovation?
I think AI design, I think sustainability, resilience of supply chain, and actually customer focus. I think from innovation, it has to be customer focus at the end of the day. From product point of view, of course, within manufacturing engineering, it's more about efficiencies and waste reduction, but I think product-wise, it has to be customer focused. So the whole kind of start of that innovation process, you have to take account of what the customer's requirements are.
Yeah, and as you were saying very finally, actually, AI-led design,
absolutely,
very much a reality in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. We may not be quite there yet, but it will be in the future, I've no doubt.
Yeah, exciting times ahead for sure. Gary, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your time at the show.
Okay, thank you very much.